What's going on, everybody? It's SkyToon, and today I'm going to be going further in depth than I ever have before with Breath of the Wild 2. Before I get started, be sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and click the link down below to follow me on Twitch, where I stream every single day. With that out of the way, let's get into it. Right off the bat, you'll notice this red glowing malice. Now this just so happens to be the same malice that was flowing from the corpse of Ganondorf in the first trailer we got for Breath of the Wild 2. It also killed a rat. Bottom line, don't touch it. Dang it, Link! We see our hero. It looks like he's still wearing the champion's tunic and has the Master Sword on his back. His right arm is being consumed by the malice that I just said not to touch. By the look on his face with his gritted teeth, he's in pain. Then we take a look at this wrinkly dude. If I had to guess, Ganondorf just woke up from his nap. He seems kinda cranky. The reason I think he just woke up is because everything is still on him. From this pendant leaning off of his shoulder to the double handcuffs on his arm. That's a new fashion trend. The white piece of cloth is still tied to his waist, and his tattered robe is still in the same place. Even the off-brand Infinity Stone on his head is still intact. Wouldn't you think he'd lose some accessories if he'd been in a fight with Link, or even gone somewhere else around Hyrule? Something I can't seem to figure out is if Ganondorf is falling backwards, or if this is a low-angle shot at him on his feet, raising his arms in the air. He doesn't really seem like he's falling to me, but it is something to think about. Also notice how he has holes in his chest. I wonder what that's from. In the next clip, we can see Zelda falling into the darkness. She's wearing the same royal garb as shown in the first trailer, and you can see the red specks of malice all around. Huge rocks are falling with her, so it's fair to say a big force made all of this happen. Unfortunately, that's the last we see of her. She's dead. Okay, I highly doubt that, but there's some speculation that we could see some parts of the game where you play as Zelda to get out of wherever you ended up. More than likely, she'll be reunited with Link by the end of the game. After that, we see a flash of light and probably the most gorgeous gameplay I've ever seen in my life. Link is free-falling, Skyward Sword style. I don't think I ever expected to see this in an open-world Zelda game. It's enough to make an immature 5'3" controversial redhead cry. Anywho, before we take a look at Link, I'd like to acknowledge his surroundings. Up in the clouds, we can see the top of this building. Now hang on, cause we'll actually be seeing the full building in the next clip. Down below on this gigantic landmass in the sky are trees with yellow leaves, and over here you can see a gap to another floating island. I can make out a path leading to this other place, and if you look closely, you can see the outline of a tunnel, or a cave on the other side, or it could just be a cul-de-sac. The last thing as far as structures are concerned was this tiny place over here. Remember it, cause you'll see it later in the video. As for Link, he looks a bit different. The more I looked into this trailer, not only the more confused I got, but I started to believe that this isn't Link at all. No, it isn't because this person's hair is down, and in a different trailer 2 years ago for the same game, it's tied back as usual, or that they're wearing a completely different outfit than Link was last seen wearing. You'll laugh at me, but it's the ears. I know it sounds absolutely crazy, but this guy's ears are 100% not the same as Link's. Link's are pointy and stick out. I don't want to hear, oh, his hair is in the way though. Because listen, this guy in the freaking bath towel's ears are more rounded than Link's. You'll see it in this next clip too. Just watch. That being said, we can see that he's wearing a green half tunic. His footwear looks like the same from ancient Roman times, and his right arm is turning into stone. Medusa as a boss for Breath of the Wild 2, anyone? Keep in mind I said his right arm, cause I have another theory for later on, but that arm and some of his skin seem to resemble the glowing hand that was connected to Ganondorf and reached out to save Link, right? This is where things get tricky. That tower I mentioned in the higher clouds is right here. You can see the top part has the same shape as the one in the last clip. More importantly, we get another look at this mysterious green tunic guy. This time, he's wearing boots. They are different than what he just had on before, because look at the bottoms of the shoes. One is smooth and one is rough. Everything else about the outfit is the same. That being said, this just confirmed that you can still change your outfit in midair. Taking a look at the Paraglider, it's completely different. The design on the top, the curved handles, and those wind streamers on the sides we for sure didn't have before. This is like an upgraded Paraglider versus what we had in Breath of the Wild. Maybe it'll help us travel further in the skies to those other islands in the distance? The arrow pouch is exactly the same, but check out this shield. I don't think I've ever seen that design before. It has almost like a Sheikah eye mixed with the one-hit obliterator on it. At least that's what I personally see. Under that, we can see 7 triangles. The top 4 are dull, but the bottom 3 are gold. You know what else is gold and has 3 pieces? The Triforce. I wonder if it'll play a role in Breath of the Wild 2. Or this could just be a cool shield pattern. From air to big landmass still floating in the air. Before I even go over the fact that it's bright and sunny, these little archways are on almost every floating island. There was even one in the last section. We can see stone walls all around, and a few slabs have some strange designs carved into them. Birds are flying all the way up here too. Then we go to this guy. I don't think this is an enemy. It almost reminds me of Cherry, the robot Robbie built in the Akala Ancient Tech Lab, but this one seems to be much more advanced. It has one eye like a Hinox, but it's made of stone like a talus. The egg-shaped designs on its shoulders can be seen in the background as well. It seems to have 2 clawed hands on the bottom, and what looks to me like 2 upside-down Sheikah eyes on the top. When it was coming down, you could see this glowing part running throughout its body, which looks strangely similar to the glowing energy from the hand in the first trailer. It doesn't even look like the body is truly connected. Maybe all of the power goes to this broomstick looking design in the center. In the background, I already mentioned the stone egg type designs, but what about the stairs leading up to the building, with the same markings on it as the stones we saw earlier? This area is obviously in the sky, because we can still see the yellow trees in the background. Okay, right here is where nothing makes sense. We see Link, the Link we know, in the same outfit he was wearing in the first trailer. The thing is, he has the exact same paraglider as the guy with the green tunic, yet everything else is the same, except Link has the Traveler shield, whereas the other guy had a shield we've never seen before. What Link is gliding past is an upgraded enemy. This Bokoblin camp rests on top of a stone talus. The Bokoblins look a bit different, as they now have horns on top of their heads. We can see there's also a huge line of defense for this enemy, as walls are up, preventing Link from hitting the large gem at the top of its head. Plus, there's even spikes, which make it impossible to climb the enemy structure to begin with. There's a lot of broken rubble in the distance, with a singular Bokoblin Tower to the left and another Bokoblin camp to the right. Something else I wanted to point out is that Death Mountain appears to be completely inactive. No lava is spewing out at all. Maybe we'll be able to get closer to it, or even go inside this time? The final thing about this shot that should be very obvious is that there's nothing in the sky. So what exactly happened to all of the floating islands with the bright yellow trees we saw before? Did they just vanish? Or are they so high in the sky we can't even see them? Another thing that I've started to notice is that the figure with the green tunic is never seen on the actual ground. He's only ever in the sky, or on a landmass that's still in the sky. Very odd. Here, we see someone laying down unconscious. His fingers don't move, as the swirling light from the hand holding down Ganondorf from before takes over his body. We can see some kind of text to the left. I did extensive research and found nothing. At first, I thought it was Hylian writing, then Gerudo, but what I didn't consider was Zonai. Unfortunately, we've never seen Zonai writing anywhere to my knowledge, so for the time being, this translation is completely impossible till we learn more. If you don't know who the Zonai are, it's a mysterious, unseen prehistoric tribe whose existence is marked by ruins. That would explain the patterns on some of those stone surfaces from before. They disappeared one day, and that was it. As for the hand, it can belong to one of two people. I know your first thought is Link, since he was grabbed by the hand and it was his right hand that was possessed. But Link doesn't have long fingernails like this hand, and neither does Zelda. This hand could either belong to Ganondorf, who possibly needed a host to gather his strength after being trapped below Hyrule Castle for years, or this is the hand of that guy in the green tunic, aka the ancient hero. The same ancient hero told from the prophecy.
A warrior wielding the soul of a hero.
Taking a look at this hero, he's wearing a green half tunic, holding the Master Sword with a discolored hand. Did you notice how his hair isn't tied back either? Again, strange. Next, we see Link again. He looks the exact same as when we saw him paragliding past the new Bokoblin and Talus combo enemy. But, this is new. His hand is glowing, and the fingers on his left hand don't look like the ones on the right. If anything, the fingers on the right hand look exactly like the ancient heroes did while falling out of the sky. With a flick of a wrist, Link stops the spike ball rushing towards him and sends it flying back at the enemies. As he does, there's an extremely small Sheikah eye that shows up on his glove. He's obviously using a new form of stasis. And what tool did we use in the past to perform this move? A Sheikah Slate. And what did the Sheikah Slate have on it? A Sheikah eye. Therefore, whatever truly happened to Link's arm has given him the same powers. His arm now acts as the Sheikah Slate. Moving on, we see the spike ball stop and reverse as the world goes black and white. But notice how the Moblins and Bokoblins continue to move. Could this be our first look at time travel? Or maybe this isn't stasis at all. It only seems to roll back and hit the enemies that have now moved into its old path. Another detail that caught my eye is that just like the Bokoblins have their new look, the Moblins do too. They now have what looks to be tufts of hair on top of their heads. Looking further up the hill, we can see an enemy base with new explosive barrels or pots to break. Do you think potential time travel is crazy? Check this out. It's a brand new enemy found underground in a cave. Before I talk about this creature, let's take a look at our surroundings. On the left are small stairs leading up to what could have been a place for a chest or a small goddess statue. On the right is once again a slab of stone with the same pattern on it as seen many times before. At this point, I'm sure it's Zonai, because the flamethrower Link is using to defeat this enemy has the same dragon shape as the huge statues found around Dracozu Lake in the Faron region. And what's nearby those? The Zonai ruins. Now looking at the enemy, it seems to be a worm-type creature that's in a sack, connected to the cave wall. It has rows of sharp teeth, and believe it or not, a beach ball for a tongue. When Link lights it on fire, it gets mad, as anyone who gets lit on fire should be, and stretches out of the cocoon-type sack, at the same time extending its spotted tongue to swing at Link. If you notice, when Link does his backflip, the flamethrower he has is actually attached to his shield, which means he could attack with his new hand and use his normal hand to either shield or use a different kind of attack, taking down enemies twice as fast. After that, we see probably the strangest thing in this entire trailer. a splash of water goes back up to the sky in reverse, and we see the ancient hero again. But this time, there's the glowing spiral around him, and he looks like he's swimming in midair. Now, his before stone-looking arm is glowing. He goes straight up to the stone, somehow traveling through it, and when he's at the top, his arm stops glowing and the spiral around him is gone. The only explanation I can think of is the water was already falling, and he performed what Link did with the spike ball to reverse time. But the ancient hero is able to actually interact with the objects in a different way. His arm was glowing because he was actively in the middle of using his power. Why can he get through the stone? Because water can slip through the cracks. I believe this is the way he's able to get up to the sky in the first place. Yet we've never seen Link in the sky yet. And instead of just clouds below like before, now we can see the land of Hyrule. It looks like we're right over Hyrule Ridge, because I can see the mushrooms below. This building that we're standing next to has the same egg-shaped statue as our new friend from before, and I can't tell what it is, but I can see a symbol through the cracks in the middle of this building. I said way before in this video to remember a certain structure. I think they are exactly the same. I believe these buildings are at the edge of every floating island as a way of transportation. Before we go to the final part of the trailer, looking out, you can see more stone structures, and even the roots that must have gotten ripped out of the ground, hanging off of the edge of the islands. Everything is so beautiful and detailed up here in the clouds. The very last thing is Malice exploding from the ground and lifting Hyrule Castle high into the air. This is probably right when Ganondorf wakes up and takes control. The pillars around Hyrule Castle seem to have disappeared entirely too. Notice how the divine beasts are gone. There's no lasers pointing towards Hyrule Castle anymore, as well as any shrines or towers scattered across the land. Then we get a view of Hyrule beginning to plunge back into chaos, and that we can expect this game by 2022. Now, I am very far from done. I wanted to take this a step further and see if I could look at the locations from this trailer and find them in Breath of the Wild. So that's exactly what we're gonna do. First up is this area with our new combo enemy. It's in Hyrule Field, and we can see Death Mountain in the background. To the left, this same broken piece of stone can be seen in the far distance. As for the Bokoblin Tower and 2 other stone ruins, they aren't there yet. I actually didn't notice this before in the initial analysis, but above the leftmost new stone, there's some sort of dark building. This is actually where one of the pillars from around Hyrule Castle once stood. Moving to the right, there's another Bokoblin Tower I missed that is not in current day Hyrule. And all the way up the hill, there's now that Bokoblin camp that wasn't seen before. The next area from this trailer, I looked for 3 hours and couldn't find anything. I checked in Eldin all around Death Mountain and in the actual Eldin Mountains, and found nothing that perfectly resembled these rock formations in this location. So I guess it's a mystery until Breath of the Wild 2. After that was the part in the sky. Down below we can see the mushrooms, so it's automatically in Hyrule Ridge. Keep in mind this won't be exact, since I can't magically float 1,000 feet in the air right now. But from the trailer, we could see that there's a huge chunk of land that looks darker than the 2 green masses of land to the sides of it. If we stood here in Breath of the Wild and went way up high, we'd be approximately in the same place. These next few were definitely not the easiest to find. Standing closer to this statue, about here on the castle map, we can see the same structure to the left, the little tower to the right of that, and the connected bridge with the broken stone tower to the right of that. The same broken-topped tower falls in this next view, and I know it's this location on the castle since the archway under the red banner is whole with no damage, just like before, and the bridge is still connected to the tower on the left. This is the only other location I couldn't find. It has to be one of the surrounding walls of Hyrule Castle, but again, maybe we'll get an exact location in the future. As for this area, it's where one of the Lionel gatehouses are on the path before you get all the way up to the castle. We can see the same chipped stone wall on the left and the gatehouse on the right. Finally, the big overview of the floating castle. If we stand about here in the Serenal Hills, we can still see all of the stone pillars to the left, Hylia River with a bridge in the middle, and even the 3 trees on the right side. Obviously, in this picture, the castle isn't floating yet, but that would be very close to the same view. And a side note, as I did mention before, Revali's divine beast Valmetto is nowhere to be seen, as well as the pillars that stood around Hyrule Castle. And that's all of the matching locations I could track down. Okay, so now you think I'm done with the video. Wrong. Let's talk about music. I made a video before, listening to the music reversed and slowed down to try and hear a message. What I said at first was that this part was saying, "Save Hyrule, or save Zelda, but I'm changing my mind. I can hear a bunch of different messages, but the one that keeps being the closest is save Hyrule, save our bodies." This would make sense, considering we can very clearly hear in the first trailer for Breath of the Wild 2, there's a very faint whisper saying, "Help us, please." This could either be referring to everyone who perished during the calamity, or possibly the champions. If this game is actually about time travel, then bringing everyone back might be a real possibility. In that case, helping them by saving Hyrule and saving their bodies. But now you think I'm done. Not quite. The very last thing I want to talk about is somehow connecting these trailers. Here's what I think the correct order could be. It shows how Ganondorf got trapped below Hyrule Castle in the first place, then shows the swirling letters and zooms in on the body. Once showing the full body, the camera shakes, which makes a surge of malice explode from the body, drowns and kills the rat, and rockets up to the ceiling, hitting the room with so much force that it shakes Hyrule Castle and lifts it higher into the air. A tunnel rose out of the ground, which then was discovered by none other than Link and Zelda, whose curiosity got the best of them, and they set off to explore. They get some supplies, an ox, and torches to light the way. While traveling with their ox, it gets scared to cross a gap that's too large for it, forcing our travelers to set out on foot. On their way through the cave, they come across a painting of Ganondorf on horseback, which surprises Zelda. Eventually, our heroes come across the dead corpse of Ganondorf. Link hands the torch to Zelda, who goes to take a closer look. Here we have to use our imagination to fill in the blanks. I think Zelda sees the hand move, turns around to see something else, and when she hears Ganondorf's head move, she drops the torch and spins around in time to see him wake up. The malice is now going crazy and overtakes Link's arm. Ganondorf is now standing, and the whole cave is coming down. Zelda falls and Link lunges for her, but it's too late. As he's now falling, the glowing hand that was holding down Ganondorf grabs Link, and we can see his hand go limp. He is now unconscious, laying down while the arm is becoming one with his own. He wakes up and can't control his new arm. Meanwhile, Ganondorf has already taken over while Link was down for the count, and claimed Hyrule Castle, which is now lifted high into the sky. I know there's a ton of pieces that just don't go together, but that's my best shot at combining the cinematic portions of the two trailers. That's all I got for now. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to leave a like, smash that subscribe button, and share it with some friends. If I missed anything or you have theories of your own, be sure to reach out to me using any of my social media links down in the description below. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see ya in the next video.